Son, I need to speak to you.
Yes, Papa?
I saw in your report card that you only had a B- for how to use the dark side of the Force.
Oh, Daddy, that was kind of a boring course.
I don't care. That's not good enough.
Okay.
Go to your room now and study extra 5 hours a night until you get that A+++++ in the dark side of the Force.
But Daddy, it's so boring.
Go now, go. Kids, I tell you.
What's up, guys? Thank you for checking out this video. There's gonna be some cool entrepreneurial tips and tricks here. This is part of a Kidpreneurship course for parents I recorded. So if you want to check out the entire course, module 1 is right over here. Or you can check out our regular actual YouTube videos, which shares tips, tricks, roadmap strategies to help you build profitable businesses. Lastly, this is a non-for-profit YouTube channel, so 100% of YouTube AdSense revenue will be donated to legal registered charities that support youth entrepreneurship. So the more we share, the more we care. Thank you so much for your support, and let's get on with the video. Peace. What's up, friends? How's it going? Hey, Darth Vader. Thank you so much for, our usual exaggerated example of what happens in many households. And it's really not about that particular example of report cards. It's really how our kids feel sometimes, the way we speak to them. And again, this goes back to 2.2, 100% believing our kids, our actions, our words really impacts our little kiddos. All right, but this particular module, which is the last one, and I'll say this has created the most visible transformation, at least with my kids. And it's why I kind of saved it for the end, because I think it's such a powerful shift in how we approach our kids. So the shift is going from an achievement base to a habit base. And studies have typically shown, and again, I'm not here to pull out specific studies or anything, but I have seen a lot of these, and I'm sure you have too, that when you go achievement based, that you keep giving a freaking dangling a clementine in front of them, and they just kind of like, oh, well, not enough, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one. That creates this feeling that someone's just never enough, and they've never arrived, and they can never be at peace. And a lot of depression and anger and resentment comes from that, and it leads people and children into the dark side. And the dark side typically is really quiet in the early days, and then poof, it comes out later on in life. So we really don't want the kids to live in the dark side. And so how do we teach them and inspire them a new way of thinking, so that way they can find peace and happiness and joy within them, but still be able to pursue what they dream of, right? So it's amazing. I don't want to get too complicated, but it is what I've seen most transformation, and my kids have accomplished many things because of this transformation. So I'm going to talk about this kind of like, how do you accomplish things, but you're focused on habits? Like, okay, Tuan, you're kind of confusing me. It's not totally clear. It will be clear very, very soon, I promise. I'm going to start by using this entire module with my kids as examples and explaining it, and hopefully it's going to make sense. All right, so we're going to use that report card as an example. When I knew these kids were coming, even when I became a dad, I knew that my focus in terms of one of the philosophies I was going to share with them is focusing on habits over achievements. And I knew that, especially when you're kids and you're raising your children, a point of communication that occurs on a consistent basis is school, is their education, is how you're doing, what are your grades. So right from the beginning, they feel judged around grades. And if it's not positive, then it's very difficult for them to find the energy to believe in themselves, right? And so we do our best to say, hey, let me help you do better. Let me help you do better. What do you need? More tutoring, more this. We invest all these resources typically because the ultimate thing we're helping our kids is, let's get those grades up and let's get all that stuff so you can have access to university, more options, all those things. This is what often happens in families. But in our family, we decide not to do that. And it's amazing to even watch what other fellow parents of ours when we venture down this journey, the results that have occurred because of it. The transformation within our kids has been mind-blowing, mind-blasting, that's right. So let me give you my kids as an example. When they brought home that first report card, and keep in mind, at this point, there's a few things that I took the time. I took the time to know which were their favorite courses. I took the time to know who they disliked. I took the time to know which teacher they really enjoyed, maybe last year or this year.
The Great Depression past the anyone?
I take the time to know why, all that stuff. I've asked a lot of these questions and understanding what they really enjoy, what resonates with them and what did not. So when it's time to come report card, we were able to have the same conversation around the report card. And the basic, simple line we always say is that to achieve success, happiness, joy, and pursue the goals you want to pursue, it's based on successful habits, not doing whatever we can to achieve the goal. It's the consistency of good habits that gets us to the goal. And I bring this up by asking them what they like, who they like, the products, the services, athletes, musicians, anyone who I know they admire in their world. We deconstruct the people that they admire. We deconstruct the products that they like. And at the end of the day, how we deconstruct it is what are the habits that people do consistently to get to there, right? And so they already have this conversation around us. And that's why if this is new to you, this is a great place to start, is deconstructing things that they value and bring it down to the core life lessons you want to convey to them. And in my case, it's about successful habits. So when the report card comes in, I know which course they like the most. I know which ones they kind of are really bored or have no interest in. So we don't focus on that at all. We talk about, in general, what habits would we like to celebrate this and what were you able to achieve because of the consistency of those habits. And so they're like, you know what? I've been sleeping early, been really good. I've been doing this, I've been doing this. It's awesome. So this is, I think, why I've enjoyed this class more, or I've done better actually grade-wise, right? And so we go and celebrate every report card. We go out and we celebrate with a wing night. So we find one of those cheap wing nights or sale things, or we order in with coupons, it doesn't matter. But we choose a night within a week of getting a report card and we celebrate the report card. No matter what the report card is in terms of grades, we celebrate a habit. We cheers to a habit. Let me tell you what happened from elementary school, and I'll tell you the 4 kids that are now teenagers, 3 of them from a grade perspective, really mediocre students. Only 1 girl, Latina, was like just always achieving high. But here's the interesting thing. Alex, in grade 8, was the highest achieving student in grades of all of them. No one would have expected it. And here is what happened when he told me the story. We're driving the car, my lady and I were driving, and then Bluetooth phone rings, and then it's Alex. He's like, hey, uncle. You know, he calls me uncle, although he sees me as a dad. So awesome. But he says, yo, uncle. I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, I made it to gold medal. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Good for you. I'm so happy for you. And he was in tears. My son, called my son, is in tears telling me this. He's super emotional. And imagine being Alex, the guy who people had no hope for him, who always had bad grades, bad comments by teachers.
Loser! You're a loser! Are you feeling sorry for yourself? Well, you should be, because you are dirt! You make me sick, you big baby!
From, you know, the moment I met him, now 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, now he's like a high achieving student. And he's like, I never thought I'd do this well. I never thought I'd do this well. I'm like, great, dude. Let's celebrate. What's the habit we're gonna celebrate tonight? And he says, oh, you know what? I can't just celebrate one habit. I feel like all these years, I developed a lot of good habits. And then even though he had the best grade he's ever achieved, what did we focus on? We focused on the habit. Until this day, some of the grades dropped, some of the whatever. But I look at the habits, and when he started finding something he loved, basketball, real estate, those habits kicked in, and poof, he started creating incredible results for his life that has brought his enjoyment level to the next level. In fact, he now radiates so much awesome energy that I should probably pull out a text. I don't know if I could pull out in time for this video, but maybe I'll take a snapshot and put it later in the post-editing part. But he sends me this text and he says, I think I know what I want to do for my life also. And he said, I don't know what it's going to be, but I want to help people, because now I have had so many people who I never really knew reach out to me and ask me to help them. And even after spending a bit of time with me, they feel better. He loved that they feel better, right? And I said, great. What habit did you exude that supports them? That you could keep doing this, whether you're a psychologist, a life coach, or whatever. What can you keep doing? And right away, he was saying like, you know what? I'm always trying to be a better version of me. Not those exact words, but something like that, right? And so that habit was celebrated, even though the result was acceptance by someone else. You see how we recognize things that have been done, but we celebrate the habit all the time. This is consistent with all my kids. And it's amazing that once they find something they love, once you support them in identifying and being more clear in terms of what matters to them and how they can be part of what matters, this habit-based approach takes them to a whole new level. So I want to end this chapter with something like this here. There's a man named Ryan Walter, former Montreal Canadiens player. I'm from Montreal originally, so yes, I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of his. And I learned something recently from him, and I hopped on a call, this kind of business group in Ottawa called Tech, and he was a guest speaker. And he shared this, and I modified it a little bit, but he shared this philosophy, which I love, which is experience leads to stories and thoughts, which there forms belief systems or the mindset. And then that drives action and how we respond to things. And when we do this consistently, we form a habit. And this habit drives a result. And that result could be positive or negative. Here's the other really interesting stat, I guess, that he shared with us on that call, was that there's these numbers, which is 60, like 90 or 95, let's say 60, 90, 80, which is 60,000 thoughts we have a day. And it was 60,000 thoughts, 90% of those thoughts repeat itself the next day, and 80% of those thoughts are negative. Remember this little example from earlier? And then, it's incredible how many we all have negative thoughts inside based on a domino effect of a lot of experience throughout our entire lives. And it builds, and it shapes the way we see the world. It shapes the way we think. And we think it's fact, right? And when you go to habit-based approach and you look at their current habits, and when you celebrate good habits, there's some really good habits that every one of us have, including our kids, and there's some habits that are not so great. I don't draw attention to the shitty ones. I draw attention to the ones that go well, because I believe that when we focus on good habits, we get more positive results, and that basically amplifies the frequency of that habit. It completely changes, because when you have a positive result, that's a positive experience, it shifts stories and thoughts, it shifts the belief systems, and when this happens consistently enough, you completely transform your children. I believe that my kids went through this from this type of transformation, is we shifted their habits to something more positive, which shifts experience, and now every day I see them growing. I see them facing a wall, but I see them having the right habits to rise up from that. So I leave you with this. Really think about some of the amazing habits that you have even to celebrate, and then find these amazing habits that you see with your kids, whether the report card is in or not, whether they're doing sports, something they could do today, sometime today. I'm sure you could catch something that's really positive and celebrate it. Just surprise them, say, hey, you know what? I want to celebrate something. I want to celebrate something I just learned about habits. And I need us to celebrate habits more often, because you have amazing habits that I don't recognize enough, and let's start celebrating it. Fantastic. Let's rock and roll, guys. Here's some great habits, and let's rock, rock, rock. Mwah. I love you guys. Bye.